no more. Welcome to a new episode of Video Game, the Movie, the Podcast. I'm Dan. You there?
Something you doing?
Huh? Oh, sorry. I think,
No, I was doing a bit.
Okay. Okay, yes. I'm just going to, right click
You're gonna want to trim that silence.
Just gonna select your unit and, send you to, gather some minerals or whatever. No, wait, it's fucking wood in Warcraft, isn't it? Anyways. We watched, the Warcraft movie. I've got some stuff I want to do before we get into the movie proper, but I do want to say, I think it is kind of a mess, and I don't think it's good, but I'm very fascinated by it.
Okay, we're on the same page. I think it's fascinating that they made the movie the way they did in a few ways. Listen, I don't want to spoil it, but can I tell you? I lost my mind when a character started crowd surfing.
God, they did do that, huh?
And then a corpse started crowd surfing after that.
Yeah.
I could not believe that they did that.
Mm-hmm. Alright, it's December. It's the first night of Hanukkah. What's your game of the year?
Oh god, well, let me look through my Steam library. Tell you what, playing a lot of Bloodborne recently, because my girlfriends have a PS5, and they have, PS Plus, so I can just, get Bloodborne. That game is sometimes really good.
Yeah,
and then the Blood Moon happens, and I get to Yahar Ghul, and, it's nothing but respawning enemies, and one of my save points is gone. If I want it back, I would have to kill 3 hunters in one fight, and maybe the worst boss I've fought in any Souls game. Any FromSoft game, I should say.
Interesting. I like to, keep a ranking of, the games I play every year. Going by the caveat of just any game that I played at all this year, it's gotta be Final Fantasy XIV. I think it basically, it was the game I spent most of my time playing. Just getting into it, I ended up making friends through it. A big part of it, I think, is just that, my friend Giga at Gigalithic, invited me to their free company, and that free company's pretty fun. A bunch of they and some other of my friends are in there, and they do some fun stuff to keep things going. They do little contests and stuff.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I love it. Right now they're having one for take some fun screenshots based around what your character is doing this winter.
For me, I think my game of the year probably has to be Victoria 3, just because I've been waiting for this fucking game for 2 years. Came out, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've got, the equivalent of 3.5 days of playtime in it already, so.
Hell yeah. I will also say, my favorite game released this year that I've played as of this date, because, is Pentiment.
Pentiment was great.
It's a really fascinating, examination of, art, history, religion, how the three intertwine. It is a stellar game. I will also give a close second to Sonic Frontiers. Sonic is real. He's strong. He is my friend. I'm gonna go I'm gonna be a little bold and say I think this is the best 3D Sonic game ever made.
That is bold.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So, before, oh, the other thing I wanted to just quickly touch on is some video game news, or video game movie news, because, we got not only another trailer for the Mario movie, we got, we just got a full-on clip. I'm not sure what Chris Pratt is trying to do with his voice.
Nothing.
It feels like he wants to do an accent, but he's not committing to the bit.
I think want is a very strong word. Let's say he feels an obligation to do an accent.
Uh-huh. That's a bit more accurate, yeah. I also gotta say, like, making Princess Peach, like, a badass and stuff is cool. I'm fine with that. But, I don't know. I'm just getting the vibe from just the trailers that it's another one of those, like, scenarios where, like, there's the cool, capable, well-trained woman, and then there's the protagonist who actually gets to do stuff.
Yep.
Like, I'm down with giving her, like, a fucking spear and, like, I don't know, a racing suit or whatever, but I don't know.
It just still looks very by the numbers to me.
It's very rote.
I fully expect that at some point we're going to have to watch this movie, and I'm just going to come away from it being like, yeah, that's a children's movie made after 2006.
Yeah. I will say, one thing I do like is how they've, like, redesigned Donkey Kong to be, like, a sort of synthesis of, the, like, 1980s arcade game design and the, 1990s Rareware design. That's nice. Let's see. Let's get started on this. Actually, give me a second. Oh. Give me a second. Like 5 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Alright, let's get into this movie. So, we open with a little bit of a narration about how, orcs, humans, they've been at war for as far back as anyone can remember. But there was a time before. A time when we didn't know each other. And we're, like, watching this human and this orc fight. Right off the bat, we can see, like, the sort of, like, aesthetic they're going for. They're, like, trying to capture that sort of, like, big, chunky action figure look that a lot of the, like, that the models look like in the video games.
Especially Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft are the only ones that can really speak for. Do you have any history with Warcraft as a series?
Not really. I once played, like, 5 minutes of a free trial of World of Warcraft. I know my godfather was really into the, old RTSs, but, like I said, I'm not super familiar. Yeah, I can't say I have a history. Do you?
Yeah, I actually played Warcraft 3 a fair amount back in high school. I got the Warcraft 3 battle chest, complete with the Frozen Throne expansion.
Yeah, I remember those, like, battle chests. They were selling them at, like Walmarts and, Targets and whatnot.
Yeah, when I first played it, I put myself in a vicious cycle where I cheesed a mission or two by using cheats, and then I had to keep doing that because my tactics and my heroes weren't good enough. But then later on, I gave it a more serious shot, and I had some fun with it.
Yeah, I remember I never played Warcraft, but I did play StarCraft, and I kind of fell into a similar trap in the late game where I was just cheating all the time just to, like, finish it. Let's see, what else? We meet an orc man and his pregnant wife, they are Duratan and Draka.
Yep.
And as I said before, definitely going for the game's aesthetic, because the orcs, they're big, they're bulky, they're larger than life. Well, the men are, and the women, they just sort of look like, women with tusks
They
and
just
green
they
skin.
just have little fangs, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you say green skin. This is where we get into
right.
a perhaps ill-considered part of the Warcraft lore. Which is that the green skin of the orcs only happens because of their exposure to the fell demonic energy. Naturally, they have brown skin, which would not necessarily be a problem, except that Warcraft is a franchise that, my understanding is it was a trailblazer for portrayals of orcs that are more nuanced than what existed before then. But at the same time, Warcraft as a franchise is very much in the mold of, if you think too much about this, it's maybe seems kind of racist, and it doesn't help when these people are just like brown with dreadlocks and not like weird, and not like oh, they're weird green monsters. Okay, it makes it a lot more difficult to separate from the shorthands and assumptions that I think go along with how every culture in Warcraft, except like maybe the Blood Elves, is built.
Right. They're kind of yeah, a little racially coded.
A little coded, and it's a little weird. Also, a lot of this movie has just some CGI in it. Like, I don't know the best way to describe it, but like, the main characters who are like orcs and stuff, they usually look more or less like people, but you get a lot of like ancillary background orcs where if you look too close, it's like, is that just a model from World of Warcraft?
Yeah, they just poured it in the model.
Did they just import it and like run a smooth in to like up the poly count?
Yeah,
What's going on here?
They put in the 4K HD texture pack. This orc man and his pagan wife, their name's Duratan, Draka. We later on learn that Duratan is the chieftain of the Frost Wolves, which is like one of the big orc clans. So they go out. Well, we talk about how extremely pregnant his wife is, and they talk about their kid and what they're gonna name him, and they haven't decided yet, but the man wants to name him, and he's gonna bring his wife along to the war that they're going to, so he can figure it out. And we see him and Orgrim, his best friend, and I guess second in command, at this big gathering of orcs of all types, of all clans. They've got prisoners, Draenei, and their leader, Gul'dan, is planning to lead them into another world, a far-off land, to conquer it by going through a giant portal. Unfortunately, they only have the portal only has like so much ability, and I would point to, it does make me wonder if part of the reason why is because they made it so fucking tall. It's like a fucking skyscraper height portal. But they're gonna use this portal to, like, I guess send, like, the forward vanguard of their orc forces. The best of the best.
They're establishing a beachhead.
Mm-hmm. So they, we get them like summoning, we get them creating this portal by sucking the life force out of their, like, countless prisoners, and making a big green portal, and all the orcs run through it. Oh, there's also another orc that's, worth noting. We don't get her name yet, but her name is, Garona.
Garona, I think?
Yeah, she's like a half-orc, and everyone hates her. She's like cursed or something.
Yeah, they're fantasy. They're like more fantasy racist than the regular fantasy racists. You understand?
Of course. So they go through this portal. I will say, I do love a like mid portal thing. So like they all like jump into this portal and they're like floating through space for a while before they get to the other side. Also, as they're floating through space, Draka goes into labor.
I guess portals do that.
They come out on the other side. Draka is overwhelmed by being in labor.
And the war chief, I believe, Blackhand, is like cussing out Duratan for bringing her, which, hey! Good point, actually!
Yeah!
Why would you bring your pregnant wife to war? What's wrong with you?
It seems like kind of a bad idea. I know you've got that warrior, mentality, but come on.
So, she goes into premature labor, and the baby is born sickly and, like, blue. I guess blue from the portal. So Gul'dan comes up. He drains the life force from an antlered deer and transfers it to the baby, healing him, but also turning him green because he's been tainted with the Fel.
Yeah.
Title shot. Warcraft.
Yeah. We then cut to, a dwarven city where a human, who I believe we later learn is named Lothar.
Specifically, I think he's Anduin Lothar.
Yeah, Anduin Lothar. He is getting this weapon from a dwarf, and the dwarfs, like, not very minor in this film, kind of focused on the humans and the orcs, but
this is practically the only scene they're in. It's so weird.
Yeah, they're in, like, a fucking council scene, they're in this scene, and that's it. But you know what they do have that's in more scenes? His boomstick. He made, a medieval shotgun, and, I just recognize him, like, pointing it because there's, like, this meme of, like, this, like, content-aware scaled version of, like, the scene of him, like, pulling out the gun. And it's just, like, this is how I feel and eat when I eat beef stew. And
Yeah, it's like the process by which a human actor was CGI'd into a dwarf. I was also thinking about that exact post.
I also do love, I am very fascinated by how they made him, like, dwarf-shaped. But yeah, he's got this gun. He's, like, putting his face directly into the barrel. And he gets, like, a little message from a dwarf, to, come back to Stormwind, the human city, because someone's attacked a human garrison.
And then that's that whole scene. We just go to Stormwind now.
Yeah.
Why is this scene in the movie? Like, I know it's to establish that gun exists. You don't need a whole scene for that. I think you can just, like, have the gun in the movie. It's fine.
Yeah, I think they could have just had gun. But he's, like, with these guys, I think their names are Varys and Karos, they're, like, in the barracks, there's, like, an intruder. This is a wizard named, Khadgar, or, who I guess is broken in to, like, warn, he's, like, trying to, like, do something about, one of the bodies from this, attack that happened.
Yeah, like, a human outpost was slaughtered, nobody saw anything.
Mm-hmm.
Khadgar has been, I guess, trying to autopsy the bodies.
Yeah.
Anyway, Anduin's first instinct is to torture the witness.
Uh-huh. He sure fucking does. He slams him, he pulls down his sleeve to show he's got, like, the mark of the Kirin Tor, the wizard sigil, and he is not happy. But they check out this corpse. It's all fucked up. It sprays a green mist. So they're gonna need a bigger wizard for this one. They're gonna need the Guardian, Medivh.
Hey, I just realized something.
Uh-huh.
Is he called Medivh because it sounds like medieval? Is that where they came up with the name?
I hope it is.
I'm so mad. I've known about this man for a decade, and this has only now clicked for me. Fuck Warcraft.
Yeah, just Chris Metzger, whoever, just sitting in the 1990s planning room, looking for things to name his cool wizard, and he sees in one of his fantasy books he's using for reference the word medieval, and he's like, Medivh!
He just gets a pen and crosses out the AL and nods.
Yeah. They have to go there. They have to go to, like, they stop it by like this place called Goldshire.
Okay, I need to bitch. I know I keep interrupting.
Please, I need you to bitch.
So much of this fucking movie is just establishing shots.
Uh-huh.
I swear to God, we're like 10 minutes in this runtime, I think, and like, we got an establishing shot of the Dwarven City, and then we get like 5 seconds in there, and then we get an establishing shot of Stormwind, we get all that. Then we get an establishing shot moving away from Stormwind, and we get a shot of them in the wilderness, and another wide shot of them in the wilderness, and then we get an establishing shot of Goldshire. It's fucking insane. The pacing of this movie is like... Mm-hmm. It is going at breakneck speed and incredibly slowly at the same time, and I don't know how they managed that.
I just keep thinking as I watch this as someone who's not as familiar with Warcraft proper. Like, I guess, like, they want to do fan service for the fans, and like, hey, do you remember this city? Look at it. Look at these places from our video game, and if you're not familiar with these places, why don't you go to battle.net and go subscribe, get a subscription to World of Warcraft.
Yeah, read the Book of Bobos.
Yeah. They stop at like an inn. We meet another guy, some more important guys. We meet Callan, who is the like nephew of Anduin. Anduin is brother of the king. Asiv. It's Asiv, right?
I thought he was brother of the queen.
Oh, right. He's brother of the queen, who is married to the king. That's right.
I never bothered learning their names. I just wrote the king and the queen for all of my notes here.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I will just say that. I just constantly forget everyone's name while I'm taking notes in this. And like, the only person whose name I actually managed to remember consistently is like Duratan, and Garona.
A lot of the name, I don't think they said Orgrim Doomhammer's name until like an hour in.
Yeah. I think they say Orgrim early on, and that's it. You just gotta know the lore, you know? But
it's not what the lore is inconsistent with that's the other thing. I was looking this up on TV tropes earlier because I wanted to be like, am I crazy or is the lore different here? The lore's different in the movie. It's different from the games. There's some key details that are distinct, including one very important one that we'll get to.
Oh boy. They eventually get to, like, the big tower, another, establishing shot. They like go on, like, Eagleback.
Yeah, they got a griffin.
Mm-hmm. It's like this big library tower, classic wizard tower. They have to climb up so many fucking stairs. While, like, Anduin is climbing up all these stairs, like, Khadgar is exploring the library, because, you know, it's full of cool wizard books, and he, like, sees, like, a spooky, like, ghost, but he doesn't get to find out about it.
It does lead him to a book, which his tattoo reacts to. Mm-hmm. So he grabs the book and hides it in his cloak. Anduin, meanwhile, genuinely good joke here. By the time he gets up to Medivh's sanctum, he is completely out of breath because there were too many stairs.
Yes, I'm glad for that.
Medivh is sculpting a big-ass golem. He is kind of a dilf, which was an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, you know, he gets caught up with Anduin, then he goes down to the library, and he just starts telekinetically beating the shit out of Khadgar.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it becomes apparent, Medivh's like a huge asshole, and he's just going to be this way for the whole movie.
Uh-huh.
And, I'm just gonna say outright, bad choice. Cause they try to do the, like, oh, but he's secretly the villain, I bet you didn't know that, with Medivh, except, like, they make it insanely obvious the entire time that he's a huge dickhead, so, like, when it's eventually revealed, it's like, I mean, maybe I'm coming to this from somebody who already knew the lore and knew that, like, Medivh was evil at this point in time, but, like, when they do the reveal, it's like, yeah, obviously, he's been a huge dick this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we pretending this is like a support? You have to make the secret bad guy either charismatic or, like, nice.
Right.
And he's just like, he's beating the shit out of his apprentice.
Yeah, he's a huge piece of shit. I would describe the way he is written through up until, like, the full villain reveal as capital M, capital G, morally gray.
Can I also say, for some reason they gave him 2 cloaks, and one of them looks fine, and it's got, like, a cool crow motif, and one of them looks like it was made out of a blanket.
Yeah. Great stuff. So he explains it's foul magic. It's life magic. It twists everything it touches. You don't want to mess with life magic. And I think I fucking need to fucking cross-reference, but anyways.
No, that's pretty much that scene. There's at some point during all this, there's a cutaway where we see the orcs doing some war crimes, and Duratan doesn't like that. And none of it's that important. But there are some direwolves who are animated like they're just big puppies, like they got their tongues lolling out, and kind of silly, but I do like seeing big puppies, so I'll let it slide. Then between Medivh expositing about the Fel and leaving his tower, I guess he puts on his less ugly cloak, and him, Anduin, and Khadgar teleport to the king's palace in Stormwind.
Mm-hmm. They find out about orcs, huge unstoppable monsters, armed giants, and I just have written here fucking Khadgar, man. I don't know if that was for something, but
no, I think I know. I might know what this is. While most of them are, like, looking over a little hex map with figurines on it and strategizing and talking about the situation, Khadgar is just in the background near, like, a rack of armor and swords, like, examining them and being autistic about them, and then he turns around too fast and accidentally bangs one of the shields.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, I think that's it. We've got, they, like, they're, like, going to, a site that fell magic was used at, and they get ambushed by orcs. Duratan's here. They fight. There's a Wilhelm scream, which I've always gone back and forth on the Wilhelm scream. What's your thought?
I think it can be fine. This might be odd. I feel like it bothers me when it's used this early in the film. Yeah. I think you gotta save it. You gotta wait. Mm-hmm. You gotta hold it in reserve.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Just get them when you don't expect it.
Exactly.
He, like, so during the fight, like, Anduin, like, shoots an orc's hand off with the boomstick.
Yeah, and I think that is War Chief Blackhand.
Yeah.
He gets, based on what happens later.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to tell him and Duratan apart sometimes,
mm-hmm.
just because they're both under so many layers of CGI.
Yeah. I find the easier way to remember is that, Duratan just looks whiter. They're like doing this fight. They win because, Medivh was able to pop his limit break. There's also like a little goblin man we see for like a second.
Oh no, that's a Murloc.
Oh, a Murloc.
I think they're called. Yeah, it's weird that it's in this, because, like, they're canon to the games, but, like, it's crazy that it just, like, shows up in the background of a shot.
Uh-huh.
Making little gibbering noises.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Medivh, specifically what he does is he turns the Fel against most of the orcs, but, Duratan, Orgrim, and Blackhand aren't tainted by the Fel, so they're unaffected and they just fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Medivh is like, Khadgar, you're doing great. I gotta go get cigarettes, and he bails. And then we get one of the cooler sequences in the movie where the remaining human soldiers, the ones that haven't gotten completely pulped, are trying to chase down the fleeing orcs. One of them, like, hops off his wolf and, like, tries to get somebody in a pincher attack, basically. Anduin manages to take one of the orcs captive, but I don't know who this guy is or if he even has a name. And that guy's wolf starts menacing Anduin, and there's this scene, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be funny, but he threatens to kill the guy, and that successfully gets the wolf to back off because it understands threats.
Uh-huh.
I guess.
So this guy gets taken captive along with, I believe, Garona. There is a bit that I like where, they're like, Garona can, like, speak both common and orc.
Hey! Why?
I don't know. Well, they say she just learned it from captives, but, like,
here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
We established that Garona is maybe half Draenei, but maybe half human, because Medivh might be her dad. It's unclear.
Oh.
But if that's the reasoning behind it, it implies that knowing a language is genetic, which is insane.
Right. It's weird. The thing that I like is, like, while, like, Garona is, like, talking with, one of her captors and the orc, they're, like, talking and, like, at one point, like, they're speaking Orcish and, what we can hear it as English, but, like, the common sounds like some, like, weird fake language. I think that's a fun way to, like, depict it. They're basically speaking Simlish. You can hear it sort of faintly. But, like, he tries to orc tries to, like, break out, but he gets stabbed. Garona is, taken to the king's chambers, to meet with our main characters. She
wanders around the throne room sniffing statues.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like, of all the scenes in this movie where you can really see the weird undertones, this is, like, number one.
Uh-huh. I gotta say, like, I'll get to it more later, but, like, I feel like Garona's done kind of dirty in this film. Like, she herself is alright, but like, her entire relationship with every other character sucks.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a line which really stuck out to me here, where, the king says, "I know every race in the 7 kingdoms, and I've never heard of orc." And that's what somebody says when you try to explain to them that Sikhs are not Muslims. Anyway, Garona gives a bunch of exposition that we already know because we saw the scenes. And everyone in this scene is in a competition to see who can act the least. There's also this really weird element where, is this like the only scene where she speaks broken English? Like, very slightly broken English?
I feel
Am
like
I crazy?
I feel like she does it at some point, but I think you're right. Like, they very definitely, like, drop the bit after a while. Like, I guess
it's also, like, really weird. And I don't want to tell this movie to be more racist. It's really weird to hear somebody speaking, like, broken English in like a standard US accent. Yeah, just very strange choices in this movie.
Yeah, just a low intelligence Fallout character or whatever. So they have this scene where they explain the whole deal with the orcs. And then we go to, like, Gul'dan. Gul'dan and Blackhand, like, sort of, like, meeting after that fight went bad. And, like, Gul'dan wants him dead. They want to punish him.
Blackhand, like, sticks his fucked up arm stump in a green glowy brazier. But then Duratan, like, lops his arm off before it can kill him. And then he and Gul'dan have some really by-the-numbers dialogue, like, your magic is evil, it must have a price. And he's like, oh, the price is paid in the lives I take, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
This movie, I know this is a problem I complain a lot, because I know it's come up in other movies that we've done, and I don't like being a broken record. This movie cuts between scenes too much.
Right.
I need it to, like, slow it down a little bit, like, pace itself better. It just, like, goes back and forth a lot, and it's a little disorienting for me. Like, it doesn't make it harder to follow things, it just, like, it makes things flow weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I get what you mean. There's not enough, like, time to breathe. And, like...
Yeah, exactly.
So, after, like, their whole, like, war meeting, Duratan goes to see his wife and baby, and we get to see the orc baby. It's just extremely funny to look at. Just this little baby with, like, tusks. Like, this is a Gerber baby, I should say. CG Gerber baby with, like, big pointy ears and green skin. It's so fucking, it's so goofy. I love it. He like grabs onto his tusk and does like a pretend growl. Wild shit. He gets to like, talk about his problems with his wife. And eventually we go back to like, Medivh and Garona in prison. he like is like asking her about fell magic and stuff, if I remember right, and then
he's asking her about the gate and like how Gul'dan found out about it.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah?
Why is he asking her this?
I don't know.
'Cause again, I don't want to spoil this. Medivh's one of the villains. And he summoned the orcs here. Why does he need to know how Gul'dan found out about the gate if he opened the gate?
Right.
Bro, it was you!
Dunkachino, I knew it was you. Then, like, some people come down to, like, give her, like, food and water, and and like, he's gone. He is just gone.
He turns into a crow. That's his thing that he does.
Yeah, he turns into a crow, and, like, flies out of the oubliette. They sort of, like, talk about how the villages are burning, and, they could have peace, but
yeah, the queen is trying to bring Garona on side, even though Garona's first instinct on seeing her is like, I could kill you and it would blast everybody's tits off. There is a good shot at the end of this. The queen is like talking about how Garona can make a life in Stormwind, probably a better one than she's used to, and we just get a shot of Anduin's back, and we pan down, and we see that he like has his gun ready to go if shit goes south.
It's cool.
Very good moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So Khadgar is like researching this book he stole, and he's taking notes. He's like making he's stringing up pages, and he reads a very important passage. From within light comes darkness, and from within darkness comes light.
Just like Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it's like to have is to lose, and to lose is to find. Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I do love that. He like writes down the name Aladai. We go back to Duratan and Ogrim, just sort of like chatting as after like on the campsite about how I think Gul'dan might be evil. You do know that when he took power, everything went to shit, and
hey, have you noticed? Have you noticed how the camp where like the normal brown orcs are, it look like is normal, and then you look a little to the west and everything is charred black and like ashy, and no life will grow ever again there?
Yeah, it's funny thing, isn't it? You want to like help team up and like find a way to defeat Gul'dan? So we then go back to Lothar and Garona. He's like suiting her up, giving her like armor and a cool knife to like defend herself with. And they're gonna go out on like a little expedition to, I guess, I don't know where. They're just like on a journey to.
I think the idea is they're on like a scouting expedition.
Yeah. They go out on a scouting expedition. Khadgar has to take night's watch, but they spend like the night just chatting with each other.
There's some awful banter here.
Yeah, they talk about orc sex.
They talk about whether or not Khadgar wants to fuck Garona.
Yeah.
Then we get Garona's sad backstory, yada yada yada. We get Khadgar's sad backstory, yada yada yada. Then it's the next morning and they actually do the scouting of the orc encampment.
Yeah. While they're there, like, at some point Garona gets separated and Duratan meets with her to like talk. He takes Khadgar prisoner, and like for like a minute, he just like grabs him so he can't read any spells.
Yeah, he's like holding him hostage, basically.
Yeah, he's holding him hostage and like is trying to like talk with Garona about a plan to defeat Gul'dan.
Yeah, he wants to meet with the human leader at a black rock that touches the sky, which turns out to be like a canyon, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize what he was talking about at first. I need to like watch this scene a few times to like make sure I was parsing it correctly. But yeah, they later meet in like a weird black canyon, so I guess that's the idea.
Yeah. So we get this big shot of just like a river, and we're stopping every so often to see destroyed village after destroyed village.
Yeah, we're panning the map.
Yeah, we've got the map.
We're pressing the arrow keys.
Yeah, we're clearing out the fog of war. And we go to like the big tower where Medivh and his like assistant are. They're like, I don't know, like they're figuring stuff out. Maybe get Khadgar to help you out. Then we get the council scene.
This is such a go nowhere scene. The entire point of this scene is that the king tries to assemble an alliance to fight off the orcs, but everybody just tells him to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like an elf who looks extremely goofy because like they were very faithful to the Warcraft design where elves have like glowy eyes and these really absurdly big eyebrows. And he's just like, "Where's Medivh?" And the king's like, "Oh," and just like, "Well, fuck it, I only care about Medivh."
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, this fucking scene with Anduin and his son, though. This is nothing.
They have a moment to connect. Well, I think it's Lothar and Callan, but
Anduin Lothar.
Yeah.
Is...
Oh, that's what
Yeah.
Yeah, misunderstood. Yeah, that just sort of happens.
Yeah.
They have like a little meeting to like discuss to just like talk about like meeting up with Durotan and if we can trust him or
so
not.
Fucking funny. It's just Garona and Anduin going back and forth. It's like, Durotan wants to help. What if he's lying? Orcs don't lie, but what if he is? He's not, but what if he is? It's inane.
Khadgar goes back to like his chambers and Medivh's there. So he's gonna like tell him about all these notes he found and how maybe they can like do something to save the realm, and then he just like fucking burns all the notes.
His reasoning for this is, I don't need your help. Bro, that doesn't mean you should burn all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, there's no reason for him to do this if he's not evil.
Mm-hmm.
And even if he is evil, there's gotta be a subtler way to do it.
Mm-hmm. He also, like, burns, like, his little journal on the way out, takes, like, the book with him. Khadgar goes to, like, find Anduin and, like, tells him about, the one note that he was able to save in his robes, and, like, hey, something's up. He also, like, shows him the portal, it, like, moves as he's, like, showing it off,
And he's like, I think the orcs were summoned from this side of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And then Anduin says, and the Guardian burnt your research.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just doesn't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
It's probably fine.
Uh-huh.
No, it's the most powerful wizard in the world, and somebody summoned a bunch of orcs, and he burned all the records he could find relating to that. I don't think we need to worry about that.
Uh-huh. So they meet at the canyon, the Black Canyon. They like talk over, like, plans to, like, team up, but also they don't fully trust each other. They have, like, and also Medivh is just, like, looking over from the cliffs, and then there's a big orc ambush. So, they fight, they massacre his boy,
Yeah, Anduin's son or nephew or whatever, he gets got.
Yeah.
And specifically what happens is Medivh, like, calls down this big storm, and at first it's like, oh, he must be helping, but then it turns out, oh no, he just trapped a large portion of the human army with Gul'dan's loyalists. Uh-oh, that's not good. Also, we find out that the reason Gul'dan's loyalists knew to attack the meeting was that Orgrim told them about Durotan's plans.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say, when Anduin sees Cal die in battle, all he does is, like, he has his snarl on his face. He does not cry. He does not shout. He does not emote in any way beyond the bare minimum. And I love to see that when my only son dies.
I think, like, the actual, like, dad, like, tries to, like, break through, but he can't do it. Nothing's going. The boy is dead. And they're forced to retreat. So, they take his, right, so, Khadgar and
Garona, finds Medivh collapsed on the ground. They take him back to his tower and bring him to the big old pool of mana in the center. That rejuvenates him, but then Khadgar sees, oh, his eyes are glowing green with the taint of the fell. I need to go get the help of the Kirin Tor. Durotan is back at the Orcish encampment. Blackhand tracks him down, hauls him off to face punishment. Garona is watching over Medivh, who's still recovering from using too much magic. Medivh... So, here's a big departure from the lore of Warcraft, as I understand it. In the games, Medivh and Garona fuck.
Oh.
And they have a kid.
Great.
And in this one, Medivh talks about how he... If I understand this correctly, because he's a little circumspect about it, it sounds like he went to the world that the orcs are from. He had a relationship with one of the women there, and that is apparently in this continuity where Garona came from. He says he couldn't sustain that life. He went home, but it's important to pursue love. He tells her to go find Anduin, because I guess they're romantic interests now. And then he, like, gives her a flower made of magic and teleports her away. I don't know. Weird scene, even without the, like... I'm going to call it like I see it. Weird scene, even without the accidental incest subtext.
Yeah. It's very weird. Garona, after finishing one session of Listen to a Man Talk About His Man Pain, has to go to another session of listening to a man talk about his man pain.
Anduin is so sad, and he's so drunk. And Garona's trying to fuck about it! This is the scene. This is the scene where I go from, like, oh, this is kind of like a by-the-numbers fantasy movie. I don't know, the lore's kind of weird. They're not really doing a good job with Medivh. Into, this is fucking crazy. Who wrote this? Why would you see a guy who's sad about his dead son and try to fuck? Nobody does that!
You know, they say, you know what they say, cum heals all wounds.
So, Gul'dan, he's talking to Doomhammer. He's like, I'm going to gift the Fell to all the orcs who have not already taken it on. Doomhammer's like, well, Duratan didn't agree to all this, and he's the chief. And Gul'dan's like, yeah, but we can set you up as leader if you play ball. And then, like, 5 minutes later, Gul'dan's loyalists are just slaughtering the Frostwolves instead, so I don't really know what that was about. Orgrim manages to visit Draka and tell her, listen, they're coming for you, but I can hold them off. You need to run with your son. And I think this is where we finally hear the name Orgrim Doomhammer in full.
Right. We also get, like, we finally get the little baby orc's name. It's like, Goel. It like means hope.
This one's a deep cut, because people with only a surface level understanding of Warhammer lore like me would know this baby as Thrall.
Oh. Great. Cool.
I believe he has been described as Chris Metzen's self-insert, so make what you will of that.
I am glad to have learned that.
He's like the protagonist of the Orc campaign in Warcraft 3. He's like he's Orc Moses.
He is Orc Moses. They do have a Moses scene.
Well, listen, we'll get to the Moses scene. But like, he's Orc Moses and also Orc Columbus.
Great.
But we won't get there until the Warcraft 3 movie, which I assume is coming along any day now.
Yeah, they're working hard on it. It's definitely, yeah, I'm sure of it. So, Khadgar tries to, like, talk to the wizards. They tell him to fuck off, but also they take him to, like, this weird magic box.
So specifically, they tell him to fuck off, and then he's like, check out this sketch, and they're like, oh shit, don't fuck off, actually. And then, yeah, they take him to the magic box, a door opens in it, he goes inside, and it's the shadowy presence from earlier, which is some old woman, and she's like, yeah, no, Medivh's all fucked up, you gotta kill him to save the world, you can do it with the power of friendship. And she says the from light comes darkness and from darkness light thing again.
Yeah, I mean, using the power of friendship to defeat darkness, from where light comes is Kingdom Hearts.
Listen, this...
this doesn't have an ounce of the style of Kingdom Hearts, but, you know.
You're right, Khadgar's shoes aren't big enough.
He doesn't have big shoes, there's like no belts, I'm just saying, he should be wearing, like, a weird fashion romper with, just, you know, some chains on it.
Jack Skellington, nowhere to be seen in this movie. Unforced error.
Yeah, like, yeah, come on. So, he gets these, words of wisdom. Medivh's assistant takes him back to, like, the mana pool, and, he's being evil, and, he's turning the pool of mana green with foul magic, and then he gets creepypasta eyes and kills his assistant.
See, I don't understand what's supposed to be so threatening about all this, because in Chicago, we turn the river green every year, so.
Yeah, so, after keeping up this, classic, Chicagoan tradition, we get another war room scene.
Medivh's all rejuvenated. He teleports in. Anduin is trying to convince the king to commit as much of their force as possible to assaulting the Orcish encampment and taking down the gate. Medivh, because he's evil, is trying to convince the king to take a more defensive approach and only send a small force to fight the orcs.
Just send in, like, 4 warriors of light or what have you.
Maybe listen, Duratan's rebellion is gaining strength, so it's gonna be easy. We'll be home by Christmas. It's fine.
I think Anduin is supposed to be drunk at this meeting. He's just, like, complaining about how they have no forces, and he, like, is just, like, throwing board pieces around. So he then just tells the king, hey, Medivh's evil, don't trust him.
And Medivh's like, yeah, cool thing to say from a guy who got his son killed.
Mm-hmm.
Or nephew or whatever.
No.
No, it's his son, because his son killed, because Cal killed Anduin's wife in childbirth. That's what his earlier Man Pain scene where he fucked Corona was about.
Yeah. So, Anduin meets up with Corona again, and, like, they're like trying to come up with a plan to save the day. Durotan has been taken prisoner. The king, like, wishes his wife and son off as he goes off to battle.
Mm-hmm. But Doomhammer breaks Durotan out of his cage.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next morning, Khadgar shows up to rescue Anduin from his cell.
Yeah.
And then we get Moses' scene.
Yeah, it's time for Moses. Draka, like, has a little baby boat with with the orc baby in it, and, like, takes him out to the river to, like, hopefully find someone to, find a safer life away from this, this, like, life of, war and whatnot. And, then, like, this generic orc, gets into a fight with her, and they kill each other.
So, she gets stabbed.
Yeah, she gets stabbed and she fucking bites she bites off his, like, fucking, carotid artery.
And because his blood is green, it looks like she just ate some pesto real sloppy.
Yeah, listen, she likes it sloppy style. And as she dies with a mouth full of pesto, we see the baby, safely sail away. It's great.
It's so good.
Durotan is taken forth to meet, like, Gul'dan and, Blackhand.
And he challenges Gul'dan to Mak'gara, which basically just means a duel, in this case a barehanded one.
Yeah. They engage in the Mak'gara, and, meanwhile, Medivh is, like, fighting, Alduin and, Khadgar.
Yeah, because they're both on the same page. They went to fight Medivh, and he's working on getting the portal open so more orcs can come through.
Yeah.
But it like, needs him and Gul'dan working at the same time, I guess.
Medivh has gone into, like, full mummy mode.
He looks real fucked up.
Durotan and, Gul'dan are having their Mak'gara, and, like, it's like getting to a point where Durotan's winning. But, Gul'dan just, like, fucking cheats and, like, sucks the life force out. And, a lot of orcs get really mad at him.
Yeah, he's disrespecting the Mak'gara.
Yeah, like, Gul'dan, like, with his dying breath, like, gives, like, heroic speech to rally the orcs against him, but then
Durotan, please.
Sorry.
Gul'dan is not the... Yeah,
sorry.
Fine.
Gul'dan, Durotan gives a heroic speech to rally the orcs against, Gul'dan, basically, Gul'dan sucks all the life out of him, sucks him dry, and the orcs begin to rally, but then he just fucking lightnings 4 of them. So they decide to just live with it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, who else wants some? Which, honestly, feels very realistic.
Yeah. So he also, like, imbues, Blackhand with, fel magic.
His fucked up hand, like, grows this weird, like, tree prostheses,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, he's got, like, a big claw. And it's time for the big battle. All of the human forces, are going to face off against, all of the orcs.
Well, some of the human forces.
Yeah. We get some fight. It's basically, from here on out, it's basically all fights.
Yeah, pretty much. Medivh wakes up his big ass golem, and Anduin is trying to distract it so Khadgar can continue fighting him. I guess all the humans have guns now, also.
Yeah, they all have guns now.
I was under the impression that was like a special thing that only Anduin got, but sure, why not?
The humans are using their guns against the orcs. Garona is fighting. Gul'dan is sucking more life out of, like, the human prisoners they've taken. They open up the big portal, and the Horde is able to run through. But, unfortunately, for the orcs, that doesn't last very long because, Khadgar is able to, like, take control of the golem, well, does he? Well, whatever.
Anduin is, like, on its shoulders, and he's, like, able to distract Medivh, and then Medivh, like, throws a fireball, but Anduin, like, wrenches the golem's head up, and it gets chopped in half, basically.
Yeah. Medivh turns into, like, a big World of Warcraft demon man.
But to do that, he has to go into the fel pool, and then Khadgar teleports the golem on top of him, and he's crushed and pinned.
Yep.
But then the fel starts to seep into Khadgar.
But you know what they said? From within darkness comes light, and his eyes turn blue like Sans Undertale, and he is able to repel the fel magic.
He drains it all out of Medivh, and then there's a big ol' explosion, and the fel is purged from both of them.
Yay!
And then, okay, this part is fucking sick, actually.
Yeah. He like runs out and jumps onto a griffin.
No. I meant the part where Medivh is, like, dying but not yet dead. And he starts doing the gate incantation, but makes it go to Stormwind instead of the Outlands. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. They the human forces are able to retreat, and the king's got his big gambit when it looks like things are not going well, and they're not they can only get so many people out. He's got his big gambit, which is Garona kills him, and that'll make her the chiefess of the clan, and then from there they can probably work out something to, find peace.
Okay, like, step one of your plan is to make it so that all the orcs who made an effort to work with the humans are dead or thought of as traitors.
Uh-huh.
How? And I'm not, like, nitpicking here. This ends with, like, Anduin thinking Garona is a traitor.
Uh-huh.
Why did he think this was a good idea?
I don't know. He was in a hurry, but the portal to Stormwind closes. He and some humans are left to die. Garona fucking kills him with her cool knife.
And then she crowd surfs.
Yeah, and then she gets crowd surfed to celebrate And
she's just staring sadly at her blood-soaked hand while all the orcs underneath her are like, yeah, Zug Zug!
Yeah. They crowd surf her, to celebrate. They're so happy. She did such a good job at being an orc. And then they crowd surf the dead body, and Garona is made chiefess.
Yeah, so that is... Oh, sorry, no, go on.
And then, Anduin, comes in on his, he comes in on his griffin to, fight against the orcs. He can do it, but, it's too late. And they, fucking grab, his hippogriff and, pull him down. And
then, for some fucking reason, Blackhand challenges him to Makara?
I guess.
What is he doing this? What's his goal here?
I don't know. Do they have the intelligence that he's related to the king? Is that why?
I think it would make sense if Blackhand is well, Garona stole my kill, but I can still kill this guy, and he's pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
And how this goes is, this is Makara to the death, they have their weapons, and Anduin just runs for him and does a power slide underneath Blackhand's legs and, cuts him in half through the crotch.
Yeah, he kills him like a fucking, he kills him like you would in a Call of Duty, kill cam, video.
Kills him like you would in Brutal Legend.
Uh-huh. He kills him, and by the law of Makara, he is allowed to live.
Gul'dan is like, guys, kill him, and everybody's like, bro, why you gotta be so shitty about Makara?
Yeah. He flies off with his brother-in-law's corpse.
Mm-hmm.
And Ogrim goes off to, go his own way and find the baby. Anduin and, Khadgar sort of, reflect on this, big war that's happening.
And on Garona's dagger in the king's neck.
Mm-hmm.
And, Anduin's like, she betrayed us. Yeah, that is the reasonable assumption to make.
Uh-huh. And Khadgar, passes his perception check and figures out, no, she didn't. But, no. He's not able to pass the speech check, so he's not able to do anything about it. They're gonna
You know who does pass the speech check?
Uh-huh.
This is so fucking bleak. We get this shot where it's it's the king's funeral, but also the queen is using his death for political points. She's speechifying to the other kingdoms to convince them to forge an alliance, and it works.
Oh my, yeah!
And I don't know if it's supposed to be bleak, because it's presented as this big victory, and yeah, the alliance, we love the alliance, but my god!
Yeah, for the alliance, and
then we end with the shot of baby Thrall floating down the river and being found by somebody, just like Moses.
It's so beautiful. I'm sure you, enjoyed having your culture represented this way.
Yeah, happy Hanukkah, everybody!
Happy Hanukkah!
we all remember when the Doomhammers fought off Gul'dan and the Greeks in order to reclaim traditional orcish practices.
Uh-huh. So, what rating do you give this movie?
This is hard because I feel this is not a good movie. I feel like this deserves a 2 out of 5 at most. And yet it brought me so much joy in that final third.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I gotta say, I think it's a mess. It gets very engaging at certain points because of how wild it gets. I wonder, like, if I knew more about Warcraft, I would enjoy it more or less. It almost has the energy of a decent fantasy adventure film. It's not quite there. I wrote in my, like, notes, this is no Super Mario Brothers movie, but in another life it could have been.
I think that is perfectly fair.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. Wild. I definitely recommend this one for like a watch party or something.
Oh, absolutely. This would be great to like just get blasted to.
Mm-hmm. Alright. Let me see if... I think we've got one question from, the Discord, but let me make sure. Twitter... nothing on Twitter. On the off chance that someone noticed our co-host, I will check the co-host. Nope, nothing on co-host. So we've got, one question from, Violet, Kitty Cat Herder, who says, "Yo! I never played Warcraft and neither did my family, but we had a lot of fun with this movie. If this movie got a sequel, what would you have liked to see in it? Also, would you risk it all to get with a hot orc person?"
Yes.
I mean, obviously, yes. I mean, who wouldn't? I would, listen, if I'm fully, you remember those jokes from like the early to mid 2010s about getting your head crushed in by a beautiful woman? That's just what orc sex is gonna be it, like.
Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes.
If this movie got a sequel, well, I guess Warcraft 2, I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly don't know shit about what happens in Warcraft 2. I know Warcraft 1 and I know Warcraft 3. Cause Warcraft 3 is like the one where the cool stuff happens, but also, I can't really imagine them making a Warcraft 3 movie, cause like, so much shit is going on in that just like you have to handle all of Arthas's whole arc, plus you have to handle Thrall being Columbus/Moses and like meeting the Night Elves and all that shit. Like, I can't speak to it. You know what I want to see? I want to see Undead Sylvanas Windrunner, because if there's one thing that Blizzard can be trusted to do, and Lord knows there are not many, but if there's one thing they can be trusted to do, it's to give us a hot blue lady.
That's kind of it. That's gotta be it, yeah. They know how to make those hot blue women. And with Avatar: The Way of Water out, all the more opportunity to capitalize.
I can't fucking believe that they put a white boy with dreads in Avatar: The Way of Water.
Of course they did. A white boy with dreads is the, ethos of the Avatar film franchise. Alright,
Movies are stupid. Fuck movies.
I've been thinking about, like, what movie do we watch next? What do we want to do? I thought about, how we watched a movie about, from Blizzard, creators of World of Warcraft, one of the most famous, MMORPGs. So, I'm thinking, let's watch a Square Enix movie. Let's watch Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
Oh, that's a great idea. I have a real tasty plasma to put it on.
Oh, thank God. Alright, I'm Dan. You can find me at a lot of places. They're all on biggerchallenge.card.co. That includes my other podcasts, which include Pot of Greed, a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. We have finished Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And in the new year, we will be starting on Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I'm real excited, in part because Elliot is an expert on 5Ds, and I gotta hear everything he's got to say on it. You can listen to the Sonic Shuffle. It's a Sonic podcast. We recently had our 100th episode. That was fun. You can listen to WoW, Cool Robot, a Gundam podcast. We're talking about Gundam Build Fighters. We're almost done with it, but I think we might be slowing our schedule down a bit. I'm not sure. But look forward to that. You can find my Twitter and Tumblr. They're both Bigger Challenge. My co-host, cohost.org/bigchallenges. Biggest start on Tumblr. At Xbox_holiday. Happy Hanukkah, Xbox. That's it for me. Where can we find you?
Well, before today, I would have said that you can find me on Twitter. I don't know if you'll be able to anymore.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of sick of the clown-in-chief
Mm-hmm.
and his latest bullshit. So you can find me on Tumblr and co-host at Max Knightley. That's MAXKNIGHTLEY.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also on the podcast Eidolon Playtest, an actual play podcast about people who gain psychic powers and use them very responsibly and normally.
Hell yeah.
Drawing a lot of inspiration from Persona and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Currently, we are doing the ska and disco campaigns about mystery-solving teens in the 90s and 70s, respectively.
Oh, yeah.
I play a funny little beetle, and people love him, people love us, people love the music, which I also do. You should give it a look.
Hell yeah.
Or a listen, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, you can find us on, let's see, I think we did make a Tumblr, we didn't make a Tumblr, but we do have a co-host, VGTMTP. If you want to try Twitter, that's also VGTMTP. And of course there's our Discord, where you can send in questions. I think that's about... Oh, yes, we're on Noisepace, noisepace.xyz, home to a lot of good podcasts. Shout out to Dr. Ha. Shout out to Picking Up Something Good, which is doing Steely Dancember. Shout out to Sounds About Light, which just started up talking about Kingdom Hearts 2. That's it for me, that's it. So, until next time, I'm Dan.
I'm Maxie.
And this ain't no game.